For this build, you'll need these 3D printed parts, an acrylic bezel, a rotary encoder, 2 BYJ28 stepper motors, 4 M3 8mm screws, 8 M2 20mm screws, and 8 heat set inserts, M2. You'll also need a decal sheet. I've printed mine on vinyl paper. You can also do it on shipping labels or just glue normal paper. Let's start by applying these decals because it is great fun. I find it sometimes helpful to hold it up to the light, to center it, and then stick it on this ring right here.
Whoa, that's not centered, no. Oh, if you like it, then you should have centered it better. If you like it, then you should have centered it better.
It's about good. You can't see it, but it looks about good. Now you can cut the outside and the inside. Make sure to enjoy this little trampoline while you can. Oh, now we have this number wheel, and we can attach it to the thing right here. Plonk. This should spin freely. Now let's put this aside and work on this front piece. This front piece consists of a few pieces. Let's start off with this one. We're going to get this rotary encoder and then put it through. This is a 20mm rotary encoder. Let's put it through like that, and then put the washer here and the nut right here. You should tighten this from the back, holding it in place from the front. You can also just tighten it from the front. There's more than one way to skin a cat, but only one of them's legal. Let's get this glass. And you can wait to do this until last, just because this glass is fingerprintable. I'm going to do it now because I am a trained samurai master in not getting fingerprints on acrylic glass. It's a very special skill, very special skill set. So far, it hasn't been impressive on the resume. This is not reflecting well upon my skill set. Sometimes a trick I like to use to clean them off before putting them in is to use this kind of sticky side and just try to dab off any dust that may have collected or any fingerprints that you undeniably put in. Now carefully, handling only the sides, put it in, and then put this piece in. This piece, you'll notice, has a little slot right here that goes with the rotary encoder, and it also has these little two very tiny pushers that push down the spinny part right here. Assemble the minions! And by minions, I of course mean ADF bezel. Now I have this thing and this thing. And we just need to add the cap. You can put this like on the edge of the table, just press down right here, like so. I'll just use this speaker. You may also want to wait until after putting this in the panel before putting the knob on, but it's up to you. Now it's time for some paint markers. The ADF I'm basing mine off of has a white outline right here with some orange text. Ta-da! Let's do the motor thing. That sounds fun. You can directly tap the screws in if you want to avoid using heat set inserts. I have the no heat set insert and the heat set insert file, so pick your poison. Not poison, fruit punch. Or you can add heat set inserts, which I prefer because that makes it so you can take it apart basically infinite. Probably not infinitely, I mean like eventually the fabric of reality will fall apart, but let's just do some heat set inserts. Now let's put in our stepper motors. I always get confused where the holes go, so I'll try to put in some markings to make it easier. Now we'll get these silly screws and put them in. These should self-tap, but you can also tighten nuts on the other end. Now one of these stepper motors drives a gear that drives the ring, and the other goes directly to the needle. So put this gear ring with the circle part down, That should be like so, and this should be flush here. Put this front piece on here. Then before this goes in, we'll paint this yellow. I only have orange, however. Then we can press this in. You want it to go all the way down. If this spins freely, it means that you don't have this gear back here high enough. So you can try to pry it up a little bit and try to get that so that it interacts. Now we can put this assembly on and tighten down the 8 screws. I'm just going to do 4 because I'm going to change out the needle eventually. Now let's move on to the configuration. I'll put a wiring diagram up on the screen right now for these drivers and the motor. Basically, IN 1 through 4 goes to the pins you assign in MobiFlight for IN 1 through 4, and then this goes to negative here, and this goes to positive. For the rotary encoder, I'm going to solder them up. One side is your switch, the other side is the rotary encoder. Follow this if you want, or just do it yourself. It doesn't matter where you plug things in, where they go, as long as they match up in MobiFlight, and as long as you get the grounds correctly. A lot of wiring problems happen because your ground is wrong, so make sure that your ground is connected solidly and correctly. For the configuration, I'll show you the X-Plane version. The Microsoft Flight Simulator version can be found in the Cessna 172 project files. Okay, so let's start off by opening the MobiFlight modules. Now mine looks like this, and you can add all of these devices here. It's just 2 steppers, an encoder, and a button. You can also just open up the one I've made right here and upload the configuration. Now let's go into the needle configuration. Right here we have our sim variable, and I went over to X-Plane data ref. I just searched up ADF, made sure it was under laminar research, and then looked for indicators ADF1 relative bearing degree. Then I didn't do any modifications. It gives the data you need, so you don't have to tweak it at all. And under display, I selected the stepper motor with the needle, and now make sure to enable compass mode so it goes all the way around and doesn't head back down. You click enable, and for the BYJ 28 stepper, the full revolution is correct. This display scale means that for every 360 values the simulator gives, it'll give a rotation. So this is 360 degrees. Now, if we go to a value of 180 right here and click test, we'll notice it moves 180 degrees. You can use the arrow keys to see how much you want to move it, and then the space bar to move it to its proper position. That looks about right. Now click set 0, and now if we put in a test value of 180, it should go to the bottom. Notice if you give it a test value of 360, it just stays where it is because compass mode is enabled. It thinks 360 is 0, so it doesn't do anything because it's so lazy. Let's look at the ADF gear ring. Now this will be a similar thing we did here. Just searched ADF under laminar research and found actuators, ADF1 card, heading, degree, mag, pilot. You kind of just use your best guess and then give it a few goes if it doesn't work out. No modifications, and then under display, everything is exactly the same except for right here. This number comes from a gear ratio. Because of the way this was designed, this drive gear needs to rotate 2.265 or something times more to make this outer gear rotate. This is a 16 tooth and this is a 42 tooth. 42 divided by 16, 2.625. That's our gear ratio, and this is just something that was designed in. And now we need to multiply this by the number of steps per rotation. Now this 2040 value that is default, we can copy and multiply to get 5355 for a full rotation right here. So again, this is 360 sim numbers per revolution, 360 degrees in a compass. Compass mode is enabled, so it doesn't have to fling back to 0 and then start over. This full revolution is our 1 rotation, 2040, times our gear ratio right here as a corrective factor. And then these are just default values. You can tweak them if you want to, but like it's up to you. Default works good. Now let's say 180. Actually, let's zero it first. Now, one of the things about this is that gear does have to rotate 2.625 times more. It is a little bit slow, unfortunately. Now let's set 0, and the last thing we need to do is our encoder right here. This is ADF knob, and we can go to on left, select our encoder up here, and say ADF1 card down, and on right, ADF1 card up. Now, let's save this, open the flight sim, and click run. I just realized I have no clue how to use an NDB or an ADF. There, that matches, and right there, that matches. Fantastic. Somewhere there's probably an ADF frequency. I don't even know how to. Whoa, this chart is so much bigger than it used to be. Whoa. Let's try 400. Now, if only there were a way to tune into the ADF frequency without using a mouse. Oh, it spins. I had no clue how these work. Ooh. This thing is moving. Oh! What if we turn our plane? Time to get out my extremely sophisticated controller. Create. Now, single. Yep, that's me. Flight. No. I have a barcode scanner. Mouse yoke. This is my airplane. And it has so much more altitude than you'd ever think. Oh, not that much. Okay, now we're turning here, and we'll see that our ADF, it looks like we're blacking out, but if we're not, then we'll see the ADF is lining up perfectly. We can even like change this and see how they go together. Now oh, there we go. Now we're redding out. If only there were a rig that like had all my flight simulator controls in it that I could use for flying. That would be crazy. So the arrow is pointing right there to the road. So I think that's only a valid place to land. Remember, all roads lead to Costco. Yep. Right on target. Did the old sideways landing. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Pierre, Marcelo, Herman, Morgan, Juan Fortas, ECD crew, Chris, David, and everyone else who supports the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantabulous rest of your day. Stay spicy, stay extra spicy, don't rob a bank, and I'll see you in the next one. Wacha. Ka-chow. Watch this video. Boom. Fantabulous. Oh, I wasn't in big mode.